Yes, please.
All right. Yarrow in Florida, we're going to you first.
Ooh, Brooke and Ricus, thank you so much. This was, like Scott said, we don't know what we don't know, but having the opportunity for individuals like yourself to come talk to us about what you know and what you're passionate about and the impact that you're making is a tremendous blessing. So thank you for this time and for the work that you're doing. Continued blessings on that. I am so grateful for the information and perspective that you shared in balancing like transition from our consuming ways. I've got an environmental love bone in my body for sure, and have, like you shared, I guess earlier, my thought process on mining has been that it's bad. And I also, while I fully support our transition to different ways in the future and being more sustainable, I don't think that a cold turkey stop and start to something different is sustainable. So how you shared that there is a way to convert what we're doing to a new way of operating via more responsible resourcing was really insightful, and I think a more progressive and possible and sustainable way to do that. So thank you for that insight. I also have a chapter in my background of water quality and the global need for clean water and sanitation. I want to thank you for that aspect, that environmental aspect of your work that you're doing. I'm curious if you could share a little more about the community involvement that you have in regard to those essential needs, Brooke, you mentioned, as you offer opportunity for economic development, also the development for those basic needs in the communities.
Yeah, it's a very challenging thing to confront. I would run surveys often and baseline needs assessments, and you read them and it's like, oh, it moves you. But to be on the ground and really see it, and then to implement something and see the immediate, profound shift in something and really address something in a systemic way, but very quickly, is so powerful. And so for our approach, when we're working with the mining communities and host communities and even communities outside the mines, our first thing is looking at what are those basic systemic needs that they have. Water and sanitation definitely being one of them. And that is the first thing that we are addressing before anything else, but we're involving the community in it, because in a lot of these cases, the community does not know how to practice safely with sanitation or how to use water in an appropriate way. So there is the education element. And, when we think about, oh, well, it's just as easy as bringing in a toilet, not really. They have pit latrines, and it's not as easy as just bringing in a French drain, because one, the water is super scarce. And two, they have no idea how to use them. So we've been using compost toilets. That's what we're implementing here. And we're including the communities in the build of those compost toilets. So obviously starting in those primary places and in dense areas like schools and clinics, but including the community members in that. So we do community build days. They've been a part of building out the sanitation stations for the clinics and schools, so that it's not that you just get access to them at school or at the clinics. You can literally build your own compost toilet at home. You know how to do so in a very proper way. Once you address those systemic needs and people on the ground can see that there is a shift really in those basic needs that they have, and immediately, then you can start building in capacity, start building out infrastructure. But our first thing, Yarrow, is always addressing those basic needs, because they're the most immediate and can have the most profound impact in a very quick way.
That's so
Yeah,
crazy.
small things, because we, for example, one of the projects that Brooke just completed, we drill a borehole. So put a borehole down next to the school, put a solar pump in, put some tanks up, and provide taps, so that immediately provides running water for a school. It's the gutter and tank project. We put gutters and big rainwater tanks, so that when it rains, it catches the water. Again, they've got access to running water. And then just a couple of solar panels, inverter, and lights, because the schools don't have electricity. So at least, because some of the classes start at like 4:30 in the afternoon, so it gets dark, and kids are sitting in the dark, and then you can't really learn like that. So getting those really, really basic things in place, And we're talking about, $10,000 to $20,000 investments to fix up a whole school. With
Yeah,
all
it
those
serves,
things.
1,800 students and the parents, because that becomes a primary source for them to go and fetch water. So, yeah, and it requires ongoing education, right? And because it is very far behind. And so it's how is it that you can start educating youth so that the next generation, they are adapt to using sanitation and water, where this generation currently is not.